Hey, it is Aliki here, and let's talk Paraguay. So, I spent a month in Paraguay trying to explore the country, and I truly can say it is completely different from any other South American country I have been to. So, tourism is very low on Paraguay's priority list for sure. So, of course, there are buses going from one city to another. You can travel around the country, but let's say, for example, I discovered this beautiful waterfall, Salto Cristal, and it's like in a very rural area there. So basically there is no public transport going there, and I tried to look up some tours. There were no tours. In Colombia there will be like 20 tours going there every day, so there are no tours, and I basically had to rent a car because that was the only option how to get there, which of course is fine if you have a driving license and you feel comfortable driving in, any other country, especially South America. But I feel like just comparing to other South American countries, there would always be some tour options. There would always be some public transport going there. You would have options to pick from. And in Paraguay, I feel like, yeah, just having like renting a car as the only option is not really great. I have to say the drive was so stressful. It was super nice in the countryside, but you have to spend at least an hour to get in and out of the city, and that was super stressful. Paraguay, you are like more on your own. Like you want to get somewhere, you figured it out. So yeah, I feel like Paraguay is a good travel destination, but more for those who maybe have been to South America before, they have some experience, and they are looking for countries and routes less traveled. So Paraguay could be quite a cool adventure if you are ready and your expectations are in the right place. I feel like maybe my mistake with Paraguay was that I obviously traveled other South American countries. I had some expectations. I had some, I didn't expect Paraguay to be so different, to have so less tourism infrastructure there. Feel like I started on a negative note, but I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just like you have to have your expectations right and be ready. But there are some amazing sides of Paraguay, which is safety and value for money. So I know safety is usually a big concern for a lot of people planning a trip to South America, but I can assure you from my own personal experience, Paraguay was definitely the safest country in South America I've been to. Okay, just a quick video for a record that now it's like 9:30. I'm going for a little late night snack because I have nothing at home, and I feel completely safe. I even feel this safe that I can like pull out my phone and film this video, because really this is probably the safest country area I have ever stayed in South America. Of course, like in any big capital city, also in Asuncion, the capital of Paraguay, there are some areas that you should know about. But in general, in the area where I stayed, it was super safe, calm, chill. I could literally leave the house at 10 p.m. and not worry, would have my phone with me. As a female traveler, definitely, I felt the safest I've felt in South America, in Paraguay. So from this perspective, like the safety perspective, actually Paraguay could be a great travel destination for those traveling to South America for the first time, because then it kind of like ease you in the trip. And another amazing plus for Paraguay is the value for money you get. From my personal experience, I think, yeah, Paraguay probably has been the cheapest country I've been to in South America so far. I think Colombia is quite near there, but Paraguay still wins. So just to give you an example, you go to a wonderful restaurant, like a really nice restaurant, and you get like starters, the mains, some cocktails, and that in Europe for me would cost around 70-80 euros, and here it was never more than 30 euros. Bolt and Uber is just ridiculously cheap. I never ever paid more than 3 euros to get anywhere. So, one great thing about Paraguay that I also want to mention is that if you are planning to visit Iguazu Falls, I definitely recommend doing it via Paraguay rather than Brazil or Argentina. So I actually visited Iguazu Falls 2 years ago. I did it through Brazil. I took a bus. A bus broke down 2 times. My trip to Iguazu ended up being like 16 hours long. But anyway, even if the bus doesn't break down, it's like 11-hour drive, I think, or something. And tickets internally from, Rio or Sao Paulo or Buenos Aires, they always are more than 100 euros, dollars, just one way. Where in Paraguay, if you fly into Asuncion, the capital, you can get a bus that only takes 6 hours and costs around 20 euros. So I again visited Iguazu now when I was in Paraguay, and I can compare because I did both. I traveled from Brazil internally and I traveled from Paraguay to Brazil, and I can totally compare these two, and I can say it's definitely much quicker and cheaper and more convenient to travel to Iguazu from Paraguay. Iguazu Falls is one of the most incredible places I have ever been to. Definitely try to add it to your South America travel itinerary. It's just wonderful. Try to visit from Brazil side and Argentina side. And of course, I have a video of that and I'm gonna link it up here. Now, if you are traveling from Paraguay, then on your way to Iguazu or on the way back, I recommend visiting Monday Falls. They are actually a separate waterfall system from Iguazu, but people a lot of times tend to, put them together because they are so close. And maybe they are not as impressive as Iguazu Falls, but what I loved is they were so way less people than in Iguazu parks. So I could be just there on my own with the waterfall, and it was amazing experience. If you are staying in Ciudad del Este, then you can also check out one of the biggest and most powerful dams in the world, Itaipu Dam. Now, while on the topic of waterfalls, my favorite was Salto Cristal, maybe because it was such a long and hard way how to get there, and that's why the destination felt more special. But because that was the time when we rented the car and we went and we tried to find where it is, and then the road there is just a bit wild, but even with just like a normal car, we got through, so it was fine. But yeah, Salto Cristal waterfall was a wonderful, wonderful day trip. Now, I usually don't say this, but I think one of the highlights in Paraguay is actually the capital. In Asuncion, you will find several main sites important in general in Paraguay, and also Asuncion is absolute foodie paradise. Some of the main sites in Asuncion are the President Palace. Unfortunately, you can't get in, but you can view it from outside. And then while in the area of the palace, you can also go like around and down the palace, and you will find the Asuncion sign there, and also Ferris wheel, and just like a chill promenade where to take a stroll. Another important site to visit at Asuncion is the National Pantheon of Heroes, which serves as a memorial building for notable figures in Paraguay. If you want to learn more about Paraguay's history, which is actually really, really interesting and eventful, then a perfect place will be the Independence House. It is actually the building where the Paraguay's independence was signed. It is for free, but unfortunately it's all just in Spanish, so maybe you would prefer to do it like within a free walking tour, or just like get a guided tour with a guide that can explain you all the things in English. In the downtown of Asuncion, you will also find the main Catholic church in Paraguay. Did you know that Paraguay had a really good working railway system? Because they were actually one of the first ones in South America to have, to build and establish a railway system, but unfortunately it's not working anymore. But if you kind of want to learn more about that, then the Railway Museum will be a great option. Another great museum to add to your list is the Museum of Economy, which will not only show you the past, but also share a lot of interesting facts about the present. And my personal favorite, this art museum was fantastic. I really enjoyed the art pieces there that were brave, intriguing, and truly authentic. And they also showcase pieces by various indigenous groups in Paraguay, like pottery, carvings, and feather art. Another one of my favorites is the Zulu rooftop terrace. The terrace is literally at the top of one of the highest buildings in Asuncion, so you really feel like you are at the top of the world. Well, if not the top of the world, at least Asuncion. They offer food and amazing selection of cocktails. I have prepared a Asuncion travel guide where I am explaining in a bit more detail all the places I mentioned on this video, with all the opening hours, entrance fees, all the details you need to know, plus some extra restaurant and rooftop bar options. That article you'll find in the description, as well as an article of the safest and best areas where to stay in Asuncion. If you will want to do a little easy, nice day trip from Asuncion, then I definitely recommend San Bernardino. It is a lovely town by the lake where you can walk on a promenade, have some food, and just chill by the beach, watch sunset. It's just a really chill and relaxing place where to, escape the city and spend the day. Now, on your way there or back, you can check Aregua. It is a town on the other side of the lake, and it features a beautiful church and a culture center where you can find Paraguayan art such as ceramics, paintings, and indigenous crafts. So I completely missed this because I went there in November, but Paraguay is actually famous for their strawberries. There are loads of strawberry plantations, and the season for strawberries are from July to September in Paraguay, and there they usually have loads of events going on because of the strawberries. They're gonna be streets will be full of vendors selling all sorts of stuff from strawberries. So obviously when I went there, it was really calm. No big fuss around the strawberries, but if you are in Paraguay anywhere between July and September, then that will be a great time and to go to Aregua. Fun fact, 70% of Paraguay's population lives in the southern and central part of the country. So not too many people live in the northern part, which is the Chaco area. It's mostly because of the climate. It's quite rough climate, but that of course doesn't stop some amazing animals living there like jaguars. So Chaco will be a really great option for a safari tour, or to go and really experience the wild side of Paraguay. Well, if you do decide to travel to Paraguay, then getting in is quite easy. Most nationalities don't need any visas, nothing. You can just enter the country and stay there for 90 days. Just always remember, in any South American country, you will need a proof that you are leaving the country. So make sure you have a ticket back home, or if you are planning to go to another country, to another country after, then make sure you have the flight or bus ticket to that country. So basically, you will need to prove that you are leaving country within 90 days. Paraguay uses Guarani, and I would recommend definitely taking out some cash so you have it for little purchases and tips. But really, in the capital and in any other city, card was accepted everywhere. I never had issues. The only time you will need cash is when you leave the cities and you're visiting more rural areas, because there are no ATMs also. So definitely make sure you take out the money in a city so you have it for when you leave. And in Paraguay, actually, there are two official languages, Spanish and Guarani. And they are nothing alike. And when I'm in Paraguay, obviously you can see that I'm a tourist, but weirdly, everyone will still start to speak with me in Guarani. And then when I say, I don't understand in Spanish or in English, then they kind of switch to Spanish or English. But I feel they're definitely very proud of the language they've been able to keep throughout the colonization, which is amazing. And so they will tend to speak with you in Guarani first, and then Spanish is kind of the second language. But yeah, everyone does speak Spanish. So if you do have some basic Spanish, you will get by completely fine. So here are some basic phrases you can try to learn. I tried to, but I found it so difficult. So I just stuck with my basic Spanish. And I would definitely recommend learning some basic Spanish to get by, because the tourism is not so popular in the country, and there are definitely way less tourists. We were the only ones all the time everywhere we went. Because of that, actually people don't speak English that much. Because usually when I went to Colombia and Peru and Ecuador, at the end of the day there was always someone speaking English and you could sort things out. But in Paraguay, actually you might struggle if you don't speak at least basic Spanish. The weather in Paraguay is so unpredictable. Like it literally, I was kind of in between the summer and winter season, so I guess I got it all. But like in the morning, it could be 37 degrees, like super hot, and then in the evening it rains like crazy. So yeah, I feel like in Paraguay you just have to be ready for everything. So if you are planning the time and to go to Paraguay, probably like the winter season will be the best for you, which is like European summer. So it's like May till September, because then it's a bit cooler and you don't get the crazy 37 degrees. And well, you probably could, but you're not supposed to. But and it's like cooler and drier, so less raining. So yeah, that would be like the best time to go to Paraguay. Paraguay is definitely approved for remote workers, digital nomads, because the Wi-Fi, like the data connection everywhere was great. Wi-Fi was great. Obviously, you have to check with your accommodation, but everywhere in all the cafes, like the Wi-Fi was really strong and good. Even when we left the city, our data, we had coverage everywhere. So yeah, definitely a good place for that. So before I would get a local eSIM in every country I went to, and I don't know why I did it. Now I discovered eSIMs. I get mine with Air Allo, and it's just have made my life so much easier. Like you literally just land, get the eSIM, activate it within seconds. It works instantly, and you can order taxis and be on the go and not worry about data or roaming charges. So yeah, eSIMs for me is now a way to go. As I mentioned before, I think the best way how to get around the country will be with a bus. This company is fantastic. I use them, amazing customer service, really good experience. And this company has they cover most of the routes, so like all the main cities. So definitely recommend them from my personal experience. And then I definitely don't recommend internal flights. So I got flights with this company. I definitely don't recommend them. I can deal with canceled flights, that's fine. But if like they don't tell me that it's canceled and I literally went to the airport like 2 hours before and they tell me that there are no flights, and I was just like, you could literally just send me an email and I would be fine. I would just reschedule my day and my plans. So it was extremely frustrating. They didn't give any notification. They just canceled the flight and we found out at the airport. So yeah, then as an alternative, we had to take the bus, which was actually great. So I think just from my experience, learn from my experience, don't book internal flights, because to be fair, the country is not that big and to most locations you can get within 6 to 8 hours. And I feel like it's definitely way more safer, cheaper and better to just take a bus. Within the cities, Bolt and Uber both work, and I highly recommend them. They were extremely cheap, as I mentioned before, and also just in general in South America, I always travel with Uber or Bolt because I find it way more safer, because you have driver's data. You can send the information to someone so they can track where you are, and also it always works out cheaper than using the local taxis. Okay, I feel like I covered a lot. I hope I shared with you everything I wanted to share. I tried to just put out all the information, all the knowledge, all the experience I experienced in Paraguay in 1 month. I hope my comments didn't put you off. I hope they only encourage you to visit Paraguay because there are some amazing things to see and do there. It just might be a bit more hustle to do things, but overall I had a wonderful month. I really enjoyed eating out, really enjoyed all the restaurants in Asuncion, and yeah, if you are planning to travel to Paraguay and I didn't cover something or you want to ask anything, as always, comment below. I answer all the comments, or message me directly on Instagram. I always answer all the travel related questions. If there is one thing I've learned about Paraguay, then the tourism is really they really do not concentrate on tourism, and we are now trying to find this mirador, which is a viewpoint, and there are no signs, there's nothing, and yeah, we're just found like a road that we think might lead us there, but there are no signs, nothing. So yeah, hopefully we'll get somewhere.